Welcome to Reading Multiple Choice, Multiple Correct, the introduction session. Let's go ahead and see what this question type is about. In your exam, you'll get 2 to 3 questions of this type. What you have to do, you have to read a passage and then answer a question based on that passage. Below the question, you'll find a number of options, and in this type of question, more than one option is correct. Okay, so you have to select all the correct options. But please keep in mind that there's a negative marking. So if you select an option that is not correct, you'll get a negative mark for it. But the minimum that you'll get, in this type of question is 0. So you'll never go below 0. You won't get, an overall negative mark. What that means is that if you select one correct and one wrong option, you'll get 0. But if you select one correct and two wrong options, even then you'll get 0. You won't get a -1. This is what the screen looks like. So you'll see a text, and then there'll be a question just below what the question description is, what the item type description is, and below that there'll be a number of options, and more than one option is correct. So it's a test of your reading abilities, and like in all comprehension type of questions, uh, it checks your ability to look for specific information in a passage, and then also your ability to distinguish between correct and seemingly correct options. What that means is, what that means is that uh, in a lot of these questions, some options they're very similar to each other, okay, but they differ in, let's say, in some minor aspect. For example, one option will say um, the entire population of the city lives in apartments, okay. The other option will say most of the people in this city live in apartments. And in the passage, what they have said is that more than 80% of the people in the city live in apartments. Now, the two options, entire population and most of the people, the two options, they seem to be quite similar if you don't pay attention. Okay, but one is correct and one is seemingly correct. So the correct is most people, because 80% is most, 80% is not entire. Entire would have been 100%. So it's your ability to distinguish between options like that, and your ability to look for specific information in a passage. So for example, the example that I just gave. So your ability to just look for that particular piece where they talk about the population and where it lives in the whole passage. So as I said, has negative marking, so be careful. Before you read the text, read the question first so that you know what to look for in the passage, and then go back and quickly read the passage, so you get an understanding of how the passage is structured. All right, so you get an understanding of what information is in which part of the passage. Then come back and look for specifics as asked by the question. So after that, go back to the passage again, and this time look for the specific information that has been asked and check it against the different options. Once you have selected the options, make sure you review them again, once again. In the end, uh, they should match exactly with the information that is there in the passage. Uh, don't, try to base the answer or select an option based on your knowledge, or, something that you might know but is not mentioned in the passage. Your answers have to be based entirely on what's there in the passage, okay? So even if you know that in reality, something is different about this particular country, but if the passage says something, you have to believe, what's there in the passage. Okay? So don't base the answer on your judgments. They should be based entirely on what's there in the passage. All right. So with that, you are now ready. Please go to practice set number 1, and all the best.